everybody, it's Miss Stilwell and Hudson here to read some more of the Jungle Book. We're actually getting very close to the end, which is kind of hard to believe. It feels like it's gone really quickly. Where we left off last time was Mowgli is now a part of the Man Village, and he is working with some of the cubs to try to trap Shere Khan. It is his mission and goal to take him out, so he is working with a team of cub members to try to be able to do that. Day after day, Mowgli led the buffalo out of their mud wallows. Day after day, he saw Gray Brother's back way across the plain and knew Shere Khan had not returned. And day after day, Mowgli lay in the grass, listening to the noises around him, dreaming of the jungle. At last, the day came when Mowgli did not see Gray Brother at the signal spot. Quickly, he herded the buffalo up to the ravine, to the great tree in the center of the plain. There sat Gray Brother, with every bristle on his back, standing up. Shere Khan hid for a month to catch you off guard. He crossed the ranges with Tabiki last night. He is hot on your trail, the wolf said, panting. Mowgli frowned. I'm not afraid of Shere Khan, but Tabiki is very clever. Have no fear, Gray Brother said, licking his lips. I met Tabiki at dawn. He is telling his story to the scavenging kites now, but before I broke his back, he told me everything. Shere Khan is planning to wait for you tonight at the village gate. You and you alone. He is hiding now in the dry river ravine of the Wanunga, Gray Brother reported. Has he eaten today, or does he hunt empty? Mowgli knew the answer meant life or death for him. He killed at dawn a pig, and he has drunk too, Gray Brother said. Shere Khan could never go hungry, even if for the sake of revenge. Oh, what a fool, Mowgli merely laughed. He has eaten and drunk, and thinks I will wait until he has slept? No, together with the buffalo, we will take him by surprise. The buffalo will not charge unless they catch wind of him, and I cannot speak their language. Can we get behind the tiger's tracks so they can smell him? Shere Khan swam far down the Wanunga to hide his scent, said Gray Brother. Tabiki must have told him to do that. He would not have thought of it himself. Mowgli stood with his finger in his mouth, thinking. The big ravine of the Wanunga opens onto the plain a half-mile from here. I can take the herd through the jungle to the head of the ravine, but he would slink out at the foot. We need to block the other end. Gray Brother, can you cut the herd in two for me? Not by myself, Gray Brother said, but I brought a wise helper. A great gray head lifted up from a nearby hole in the ground. It was the head Mowgli knew well. Akela, Akela, Mowgli clapped his hands. I knew you would not forget me. We have work to do, Akela. Cut the herd in two. Keep the buffalo, cows, and calves together, and the bulls by themselves. Akela and Gray Brother ran in and out of the herd, separating it into two clumps. The cows circled their calves. They glared and pawed the ground, ready to charge if one of the wolves stayed still long enough. In the other group, the bulls snorted and stamped. Although they looked more imposing than the cows, they were far less dangerous, because they had no calves to protect. What now? Akela asked. Mowgli slipped onto Rama's back. Drive the bulls away to the left, Akela. Gray Brother, keep the cows together and drive them to the foot of the ravine. How far? Gray Brother asked, panting and snapping to keep the clumps of buffalo separate. Drive them until the sides of the ravine are higher than Shere Khan can jump, Mowgli shouted. Keep them there until we come down. While Gray Brother led the cows to the ravine, Akela turned the bulls toward the jungle. Turn them swiftly, Mowgli called. Careful, Akela. One snap too many and the bulls will charge. Rama is mad with rage. I wish that I could tell him what I need him for today. The bulls crashed into the thicket. The other children, watching the cattle a half-mile away, saw what was happening and hurried to the village as fast as their legs could carry them. They shouted that the buffalo had gone mad and run away. Mowgli's plan was simple. He wanted to circle the bulls around the head of the ravine to catch Shere Khan between the bulls and the cows. He knew that after a meal and drink, Shere Khan would be in no condition to fight or clamber up the sides of the ravine. Using his voice, Mowgli soothed the bulls in front as they went. Akela dropped back, only whimpering when he wanted to hurry the bulls at the rear. They made a wide circle so Shere Khan would not hear them coming. When at last they reached the head of the ravine, Mowgli looked with satisfaction at the steep sides. They rose nearly straight up, and the creepers and vines that grew on them would give no foothold to a tiger trying to climb out. Let them breathe, Mowgli instructed Akela. The bulls have not caught wind of Shere Khan yet. I can tell him we are coming. He is already in our trap. Mowgli put his hands to his mouth. His shouts echoed down the ravine, jumping from rock to rock. After a long time, they heard a reply, the drawling, sleepy snarl of a full tiger waking up. Who calls? Shere Khan whined. It is I, Mowgli. Cattle thief, it is time to come to the council rock. Mowgli turned to look at his old pack leader. Now, Akela, hurry them down. Down, Rama, down, he said to the bull. The herd paused for an instant at the edge of the slope. Then, one by one, charged over it, sand and stones flying up around them. Once the herd started running, there was no stopping it. As they reached the bed of the ravine, Rama caught Shere Khan's scent and bellowed. Now you know, Mowgli said to Rama's back. A storm of black horns, foaming muzzles, and staring eyes whirled down the ravine. The terrible charge of the buffalo herd was something no tiger could hope to survive. When Shere Khan heard the thunder of hooves, he picked himself up and lumbered away. He looked from side to side for an escape, but the walls of the ravine were too straight. Heavy with food and drink, he kept running. He was willing to do anything to avoid a fight. The herd splashed through a pool Shere Khan had just left. The ravine rang with their bellows, and then came an answering bellow from the foot of the ravine. Mowgli heard the cows call. He saw Shere Khan turn, choosing to face the bulls instead of the cows. As the bulls rushed toward the tiger, Mowgli felt Rama trip, stumble on something soft, and race on. The herds crashed full into one another, and the force drove them both out onto the plain, stamping and snorting. Mowgli waited until the right moment, then slipped off Rama, tapping him with a stick. Quick, Akela, he called. Break them up so they will not hurt each other. Akela and Gray Brother ran to and fro, nipping legs. Softly, now softly, it is all over, Mowgli called to the herd, until at last they were calm and could lead them to mud pools. Back in the ravine, Shere Khan was dead, and the kites were coming for him already. Brothers, that was a dog's death, Mowgli said, reaching for a knife he carried now that he lived with men. But he would not have put up a good fight. His hide will look good on Council Rock. We must work quickly. A boy trained among men would never have dreamed of skinning a 10-foot tiger alone. It was hard work, even with the help of the wolves tugging with him when he asked. After a while, Mowgli felt a hand on his shoulder. He looked up to see Buldeo, the village hunter. The children had told him about the buffalo stampede, and Buldeo had taken his gun and set out angrily, anxious to scold Mowgli for not taking better care of the herd. The wolves dropped out of sight as soon as they heard a man coming. What is this foolishness? Buldeo roared. You think you can skin a tiger? He looked more closely at the body of Shere Khan. It is the lame tiger with 100 rupees on his head. Well, perhaps we will overlook your letting the herd run off. I might even give you 1 rupee after we take the skin to Kaniwara. You will take the hide and give me 1 rupee. Ha! Mowgli snorted. I will take the skin for my own use, old man. How dare you talk to the chief hunter of the village? Buldeo shouted. Your luck and the stupidity of the buffalo helped you kill this tiger. You can't even skin him properly, you little beggar brat. I will not give you 1 anna of the reward. Leave the carcass. By the buffalo that bought me, Mowgli said as he struggled on with his work. Must I talk to this old ape all afternoon? Here, Akela, this man is bothering me. Buldeo, who was stooping by Shere Khan's head, suddenly found himself sprawling on the grass with a gray wolf standing over him. You are right, Buldeo, Mowgli said, gritting his teeth. You will not give me 1 anna of the reward. There is an old war between this lame tiger and me, a very old war, and I have won. If Buldeo had been 10 years younger, he would have taken his chances fighting Akela if they had met in the woods. But a wolf in the woods is not the same as a wolf that takes orders from a boy who has private wars with man-eating tigers. Buldeo was sure that this was some sort of sorcery. He lay as still as he could, expecting Mowgli to turn into a tiger at any moment. Maharaj, great king, Buldeo said at last in a husky whisper. Mowgli chuckled and did not bother to turn his head. Yes? I am an old man, Buldeo whispered. I did not know you were anything more than a herd boy. Please, may I rise and go, or will your servant tear me to pieces?" "Go, and peace go with you," Mowgli answered. "But next time, do not meddle with my game. Let him go, Akela." Akela stepped back, and Buldeo hobbled off as fast as he could. Several times he looked back over his shoulder to see if Mowgli had turned into anything terrible. When he reached the village, he told wild tales of enchantment and sorcery. That's where we'll stop for today. We have maybe 2 or 3 more readings until we get to the end of the book. So it seems like Mowgli has finally won that long-lasting battle with Shere Khan, and he's planning on bringing the hide back to Council Rock. We will see what all the wolves think about that the next time we read. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.